Alright, so you've seen Escape from Tarkov on the top of the leaderboards, and you know what? You're like, hey, I want to play too. But then you go to look up all the guides for it, and they're all an hour long for a part 1. Not to mention, the ones that are short leave you feeling like this guy. So today I'm going to be covering everything you need to know to be playing Escape from Tarkov as quickly as possible. So let's get right into it. If you didn't understand something or have any questions, please leave a comment down below. I'll reply to everyone I can. Escape from Tarkov, or EFT for short, is an instance-based first-person looter shooter. What does that mean? Instance-based. You spawn into an isolated map, complete an objective, and get out. First person, well, that's pretty obvious. Shooter, you shoot other players as well as other AIs inside of a raid. Looter, you kill people and you loot them as well as boxes and certain items in certain spawn areas. This game is based on the Unity engine and it focuses on realism. BSG's goal is to make the game as realistic as playable. So you just got the game installed and you're in the initial screen. What do? So you gotta choose what your main character faction is. Your main character is called your PMC, and you can be either a bear or a USEC. Bears speak Russian and you can wear cool flannels. USECs get to rock denim and they speak Angrish. Alright, so you've decided on that and chosen your name. Main menu. You got 4 buttons here. So you have Escape from Tarkov, you click this to go into raid. You've got your character screen here. This goes into your stash and shows your character and account information. If you click on trading, it goes into the screen showing all the traders as well as the flea market. And if you click on hideout, this will go into your hideout where you can upgrade stations for additional benefits and crafting abilities in the game. Exit obviously leaves the game. Alright, so let's go on the character screen first. This initially shows your character equipped items and the status as well as your stash. So on the left here, we'll cover this section first. Your character has 13 different equipable slots with only 11 non-cosmetic slots, which we'll cover first. Earpieces allow you to hear better, but there's different types that all sound differently. Give them all a try to see which ones you like. Helmets protect your head, but only the areas that they actually cover. Some helmets can attach visors to protect the whole face hitbox. Do note that some helmets conflict with earpieces, so you can't put a headset on when you have certain helmets on. Body armor protects your chest hitbox and can also cover portions of your arms and stomach. If you want to know what it protects, double click on the item, and then you go to armor areas, and it says right here. See if this one covers thorax and stomach. On sling and on back are your primary weapon areas, and you can put any non-holsterable weapons there, such as rifles or SMGs. Your holster is for pistols, your scabbard is for melee weapons. Tactical rigs are vests for carrying magazines, meds, grenades, etc. Some tactical rigs can be armored. Pockets are stagnant and can hold 4 one-slot items. Backpack is your carrying bag, with different bags having different carrying sizes and section layouts. Pouch is where you hold your secure container. There are different sized secure containers, and they retain the items within them even if you die. Weapons and certain attachments such as thermal scopes cannot be put into your secure container area. Armbands, face cover, and eyewear are purely cosmetic. Armbands can provide some sort of help when playing in squads, but they're usually not very useful. Carrying weight affects your stamina burn when running and stamina regen rate. Virtually all items have a weight to them. The green icon is your health. It's the cumulative total of all your body segments combined HP. It's not necessarily indicative of if you're close to dying in a raid. The blue icon is your hydration. If it reaches 0, you become dehydrated and begin taking damage over time, as well as other side effects. The whitish yellow icon is your energy. If this drops to 0, it has similar effects as being dehydrated. The right section. The stash holds all of your out-of-raid items. It can be upgraded through the hideout. It can be filtered with the icons on the left side. Bags can be stacked within bags. Certain containers can only hold certain items. Meds cases can only contain meds. Weapon cases can only contain weapons, and so on and so forth. You get the idea. We also have these tabs up here. Overall tab shows your character statistics. The health tab shows your character health as well as hydration, energy, and other stats that aren't implemented yet. The skills tab shows soft skills as well as weapons mastering. Soft skills are leveled up through different actions in the game pertaining to those skills and provide added benefits depending on them. Each of these has a different way to level them up, so I recommend going to the wiki and looking them all up. Mastery shows your character's mastery of each weapon. Level 2 does nothing, and for level 3, some of the guns will give you different animations when using them. The maps tab will show you any maps that you have in your inventory, but they're not very useful. Tasks will show you any active tasks that you have as well as your progression on them. It can be used in raid to confirm a kill in certain situations. On the right side of the task tab is your quest items. These items are not shown in your main inventory, but will still be dropped on death in raid if you're on a PMC. Move these items into your off-raid stash, the bottom right, if you don't intend to go into a raid to complete the quest. Onto the trading tab. The trading screen shows all of the current traders. Prepper trades mainly Soviet weapons, ammo, and mods. Therapist trades medical supplies, food, and water, as well as some containers. Fence trades anything and will buy whatever the other traders won't. Skier trades mostly modifications, but some other goods as well. Peacekeeper trades Western weapons, ammo, and mods, and he deals in dollars. Mechanic trades highly modified weapons for bitcoins, as well as lots of other weapon mods. Ragman trades clothing, armor, backpacks, tac rigs, and other gear. Jaeger mostly trades shotguns and survivability items like CMS kits. I mentioned Peacekeeper deals in USD. This is because there are 3 different currencies: rubles, euros, and USD. Rubles are used the most at first, and then USD is used a lot more once you start needing items for Peacekeeper, and euros are used the least but have the most value compared 1-to-1. Some items such as bitcoins carry inherent value as they trade for other valuable items. Traders not only accept cash for items, but will also barter for other items. These trades can be filtered with a bartering button on the side tab. The other buttons on the right tab can filter the items being viewed as well. Grayed out items need to be examined. Right-click and select Examine to identify them, or use the scroll wheel click to examine items. Click on items to purchase them. The cost or barterable items needed will be displayed. Select the amount you wish to purchase. Be careful not to add an extra digit unless you want your stash full of cheese. The top tabs will filter the items based on loyalty level in which they were unlocked. Higher loyalty tiers have better items that you can purchase from traders. Loyalty tiers for each trader are unlocked once you reach a certain milestone for that trader. These milestones are measured in level, trader rep, and currency spent. Once you reach all 3 milestones for the next loyalty tier, it is unlocked automatically and will display those items for you to purchase. It'll then display the next milestones for you to hit for the next level, with the 4th level, royalty, being the highest. The sell screen allows you to move items from your stash into the sell area, displaying the amount you're selling for on the top. Only certain sellers will purchase certain items. Skier pays the most ruples, mechanic pays the second most, and therapist pays the most for medical and barter items. Selling items to traders does count towards your trader rep milestones. Dealers do carry limited stock that's replenished every few hours, so desirable items can run out of stock. You can see how much is left by the number in the bottom of the item. The task screen shows your tasks for that trader. Some tasks require to kill either PMCs or Scavs, sometimes under certain conditions like wearing certain armors. Some tasks require you to place items in raid. These are usually specialty items found under the specialty tab in the trading screens. Reference the EFT wiki to know where to place these items in your raids. Some tasks require you to find items. If the task does not specify that the item needs to be found in raid, it can be purchased off the flea market. I'll talk about the flea market in a second. If the task does specify that the item needs to be found in raid, you have to actually pull the item out of the raid, and it cannot be brought in by yourself or a PMC that you loaded in with. All items crafted in the hideout are considered found in raid. You can tell if an item's been found in raid by the white check mark in the bottom right corner of it. If the check mark's yellow, then you know it's needed for an active quest that you currently have. No, I'm referring to yellow outside of the examine screen. The check mark will always be yellow in the examine screen. It'll be yellow in your inventory if it's needed for a task. Complete tasks by fulfilling the requirements and hitting the complete button at the top of the screen. Tasks have a general order to them, so completing a task will often trigger another one to unlock for you. On to the flea market. The flea market's unlocked at level 5. It's an open market where players can put up offers to exchange items for money or other items, or both. You can search for items by name using the search bar in the top left. You can also search for items through the item tree on the left. You can right-click on items in your stash to filter the flea market for only that item. You can also link search to search for items that attach to it or items it attaches to. This is helpful for finding mounts to put scopes on your weapons. Toggle the price by clicking on the top bar so you always pay the lowest price. You can also filter your selection by using the cog wheel on the top left. This is helpful to remove all barter offers for an item if you only want to see dollar values. You can add offers by clicking the Add Offer button. Hitting Select Similar will select all of the same items that aren't inside of a container. You can then hit the plus mark on the right side and type in a dollar amount that you want, or you can search for an item that you wish to trade it for. Do note that adding offers to the flea market does cost a fee, the Hideout button. The Hideout's a new addition to the game. It's not really quintessential to knowing the game, so I'll cover it in a later video. Do note that upgrading your stations here can give you additional benefits like a lower scav timer or faster experience gain for your skills or for your character. Your health bar is 7 different segments based on your limbs. If your limb drops to 0, it's blacked and cannot be healed back without using a surgical kit. When using a surgical kit, your limb is brought to 1 HP and has a reduced maximum HP for the rest of the raid. When a black segment is damaged, the damage is divided equally among all other body segments. You have 2 vital body segments, your head and your thorax. They go to 0 from enemy damage, you die. These vital segments can get blacked from blood loss without you dying, however they cannot be gained back using a surgical kit. If this happens, you're literally one shot for the rest of the raid. These 7 segments can also have negative status effects. You must use medical items that cure those specific status effects to remove them. Medical items have a usage limit indicated on the bottom right, and some items are more efficient than others at healing. Getting shot can cause you to bleed. Bleeding slowly causes you to lose HP from all segments equally. You must use a bandage or medical item that says it'll stop a bleed, such as Salawas, car medkits, or IFAKs. An IFAK or a car medkit with only a few points of usage left won't be able to stop a bleed. Removing bleeding will give you the fresh wound status effect. This means your character can begin bleeding again if you sprint or jump too much for the next 4 minutes. Getting shot or falling too far can cause you to fracture your limbs. You must use splints, grizzlies, or other medical items that specify that they treat fractures to cure them. Treating a fracture will render your character immobile while the animation is playing. Pain can be caused by fractures and other status effects. It causes your vision to blur and your character to make audible noises. Pain can be treated with painkillers, morphines, and a few other medical items. Using painkillers gives you the on painkiller status effect. This effect sharpens your screen and causes your character to ignore pain and fractures for a short duration, but it also allows you to damage yourself by sprinting or jumping if your leg is fractured or blacked. Untreated pain will give your character tremors. This causes your screen to shake and lasts until you treat the pain. Contusions are caused by getting shot in the helmet or having a grenade go off very close to you. Contusions reduce your senses and muffle your audio for 60 seconds. Dehydration is caused by not drinking enough fluids. This applies a filter to your screen and causes your character to take damage over time. Drink fluids or wait out of raid to gain back hydration. Having a black stomach will cause you to lose hydration points rapidly. Fatigue is caused by not eating enough food. The effects of fatigue are similar to dehydration, but they also cause your character actions to be slower. Eat food to gain back energy, but be careful because some foods can cause you to dehydrate. Being hit with a flash grenade will stun and flash your character. The stunned effect replaces your audio with a loud ringing. The flashed effect leaves a large mark on your vision where the grenade was, and can completely black your screen if it was close enough. There are other status effects such as tunnel vision, healing over time, and skill buffs that can affect your character by the use of the many different injectors in the game. Bullet and armor mechanics. Armor in Tarkov has 6 different classes. Class 1 is the weakest, Class 6 is the heaviest. Armor also has hit points that are reduced when a bullet hits them. Wearing heavier armor will carry penalties on your character movement and turn speed. Bullets have many different stats, but the most important are damage and penetration power. Bullet variants with higher penetrating power deal less damage and vice versa. Damage in Tarkov is determined by the ammo, not the gun. When bullets hit armor, they roll for penetration based on the class of armor, penetration value of the bullet, and the current durability of the armor. The lower the durability of the armor, the more likely the bullet will penetrate and deal damage to the body. If a bullet is stopped by armor, it will deal more damage to the armor than if it had penetrated and will still deal a small percentage of its damage as blunt damage to the body part. Objects such as trees, doors, and walls also carry armor stats that bullets can penetrate through. A bullet's flight characteristic is determined by its ammo type. They can ricochet and fragment when hitting objects. Helmets can cause bullets to ricochet depending on the angle of impact. Bullets also lose damage and penetration power at longer ranges. If you want to know more about how ammo and armor interact in Tarkov, I'll leave a couple links to some really helpful charts in the description down below. Weapon stats and modding. All of the weapons in Escape from Tarkov are real-world weapons with real modification options. Certain modifications will either add or subtract stats on your weapon. In the weapon examine screen, you can see the weapon ammo type, fire rate, firing types, and effective distance. There are also other stats shown with bars. These stats can be affected by weapon modifications. Durability is negligible at this point in the game, but know that a gun with very low durability will jam consistently. Ergonomics is how efficient the weapon can be handled. Higher ergonomics gives you a faster ADS speed on the weapon. It also lowers the volume of your ADS sound and reduces stamina drain when ADSing. Ergonomics has a diminishing return past 75. Weapon weight also affects these stats, so heavier weapons will be slower, louder, and drain stamina faster. Accuracy affects your bullet spread. The higher the bar, the more accurate your gun is. It's counterintuitive, but the lower the accuracy number, the more accurate the gun is. Muzzle velocity is the speed of your bullet exiting the barrel. Higher muzzle velocity will give your bullet a flatter trajectory and more speed, meaning you've got to lead the target less to hit them. It will also increase your gun's accuracy. The sighting range will change based on your scope and defines the furthest distance your scope will be accurate at. Vertical and horizontal recoil are pretty self-explanatory. The lower these bars and numbers, the better. Recoil in Tarkov is random, and there are no set spray patterns for any guns. Different mods can be attached that will either add or subtract from these stats. You can also use suppressors to conceal the sound of your weapon, and the muzzle flash will be affected differently by muzzle devices. Certain weapon parts such as gas blocks and pistol grips are vital to the weapon's functionality, and they won't work without them. A non-functioning weapon will be red when viewed in your inventory. Different magazines have different penalties or buffs regarding checking your ammo or putting ammo into a magazine while in raid. Weapons can accept a varying range of magazine types and sizes. You'll need the correct magazine for the weapon that you're using. You'll need to fill the magazine with the correct ammunition for not only the mag, but also for the gun. This is because some magazines are compatible with multiple ammunition, but weapons are only compatible with one ammunition type. This is really only an issue with 3.66 and 7.62x3.9, so just be careful with those ammo types. Building a loadout. Before you go into a raid as a PMC, you want to ensure that your character is fully prepared. You'll want at least a weapon, meds, and loaded magazines or extra ammo for your weapon. Some weapons such as SKSs or Mosin rifles can have an internal magazine that can be top-loaded, so having extra magazines isn't necessary for them. Meds and keys can be stored in your secure container if you don't want to lose them if you die, but still want access to them during the raid. Make sure your character has adequate health, hydration, and energy and has any fractures fixed. Going into a raid, you can choose to be either a PMC or a Scav. Going in as a Scav will put you into a raid around 10 or 20 minutes after a raid has started. Going into a raid as a PMC will put you in at the start of a raid, but sometimes you'll spawn into a raid a few seconds to a few minutes late, which really sucks. Scavs have a timer between uses that can be shortened by upgrading your hideout. PMCs have no cooldown, but maintain damage, hydration, and energy consistently. Scavs will have a randomized loadout and skill stats. PMCs will have the loadout that is currently on your character. Health status effects such as fractures also carry out of raids with you as a PMC. If you're damaged, you'll want to heal your character before going into a raid as a PMC. If you're dehydrated or fatigued, you'll want to eat and drink before going into a raid as well. Health, hydration, energy, and status effects do heal over time, so many players use Scavs as a way to get back to normal without burning meds or food. When you've decided what type of raid you want to go into, you'll also have to decide what map you want to go on. There are currently 7 playable maps to choose from, but to gain access to the labs map, you need a labs access keycard on your character. These key cards are one-time use, very expensive, and the labs is a very scary place full of heavily geared players as well as heavily geared AI called raiders, or essentially T-1000s. Because of this, I wouldn't recommend going into labs as a newer player. When a map is highlighted, it will display the raid timer, difficulty, and player count allowed for the map. Difficulty is subjective, and raid timers displayed here are not currently accurate. The player count is accurate though, and it can be useful if you've killed a lot of PMCs and want an estimate on how many are left in the raid. When you select a map, you must choose the time that you want to go in. Each map has two options on the 24-hour clock, as well as the current weather conditions. Anything after 6 and before 18 should be fine for a day raid. Anything before 4 or after 21 will be better for a night raid. Time runs continuously in Tarkov, and the position of the sun will change throughout the raid. Once you select the time, the map screen shows up. If you have a map in your inventory, it will show up here with the exfils labeled. These aren't very useful, and you're better off looking up other maps provided on the EFT wiki. The next screen allows you to enable offline mode. Enabling offline mode allows you to enable other raid modifiers like random weather, having scavs in the raid, AI difficulty, having bosses in the raid, and other fun stuff. It can be very useful to use offline mode to learn a new map before going in as a PMC. If you don't enable offline mode, the next screen is the insurance screen. Here you can pay either prepper or therapist to insure your items. Insuring items means that if you die or drop an item in raid, the item will come back to you in the mail. If any of your insured items are picked up by another player or taken out of the raid, you'll not get them back. Items lost in labs will not be recovered by insurance. Prepper costs less to insure your items, but is slower to return them to you. Therapist costs more, but is faster. The amount that you pay the trader for your insurance does count towards your milestones for upgrading rep levels. Left-click on items in your inventory to select them for insurance. Items you've selected will show up on the right with a running tally of the insurance cost. Right-clicking them on the list on the right will remove them. Click Insure All to insure everything on your character. Note that certain items like ammunition and currency cannot be insured. Click the Insure button to insure the items you have selected. Once you've insured an item, it'll have an orange shield icon in the bottom right of it. After insuring your items, you're brought to the lobby. The current weather conditions are displayed again. Rain will make it harder to hear and slightly gloomy. High overcast can reduce visibility. Clear skies have the highest visibility. Once a player has accepted your invite or you accept theirs, your group will be highlighted in blue on the top, with the party leader having an icon indicating them. There is a party maximum of 5 for PMCs and 4 for scavs. Once your team's all ready to go, select go to begin matching for a raid. You can back from matching before you find a server, but once you're matched and connected, the back button disappears and your character will be put into a raid. The steps for going into a raid as a scav are the same, however there's no insurance or offline modes. PMC Raid Rules. All raids have a set timer. Tap O to see the remaining time in the raid. Double tap O to see your extract locations as well. Locations with question marks next to them are not guaranteed to be there. An open extract is usually indicated by green flares, but this isn't always the case. If you die within the raid, you drop everything on your character. If you survive the raid, you take out any loot that you have on your character. Yes, there is friendly fire. As a PMC, you'll spawn in one of many different set locations. The majority of current maps have a similar layout design. There are 2 sides to a map. PMCs spawn on both sides. Each side has multiple spawn points where multiple PMCs will start the raid. Each side's PMC's extract locations will be across the map in the same general area of the other PMC's spawn. This layout forces players to not only immediately fight the players next to them, but to then cross paths with the other players as they head towards their respective extracts. There are also other extract locations that may be available to a player, but are not guaranteed to be open. There are also paid extract locations that have a longer timer before you actually leave the map. Once a paid location is used, it is closed for other players. As a PMC, all scavs are hostile towards you. There are areas on each map with higher quality loot tables. Many of these areas as well as quest items are behind locked doors that require keys. Some keys have a set number of uses. These areas are more contested and have a higher player foot traffic and scav presence. On top of this, on some maps there's a small chance that a boss will spawn. I'll cover that in a second. Scavs have a general aggro range. If you step within their vision in that range, they'll shoot at you. If you make noise within their earshot, they will investigate. Sniper scavs can spawn in certain locations, and they will aggro onto you from a much further distance. Once you've completed the task you set out for in the raid, you must make it to an open extract without dying. On each map, scavs have a general spawn location, and they'll patrol those areas. Scavs can spawn in at different intervals during the raid. Scav Raid Rules. Scavs spawn in at different random points on the map at varying random times. Other AI scavs are not aggressive towards you at first. Other players can be scavs. It's up to you if you want to attempt to work together or shoot them down. Once you shoot another scav, even if they're a player scav, all AI scavs in the general area will become aggressive towards you. There are generally different extract points on the map for scavs to use. Scavs have no secure container, and you must move whatever you have on your scav into your player inventory at the end of the raid. Bosses. Each of these maps has a different boss with different weapons, armor, and fighting styles that's unique to them. Most bosses have a posse of guards as well that are much more aggressive and geared than normal scavs. Sturman spawns on woods. Him and his 2 goons are light armor snipey boys that'll try to kill you at range. Rashala spawns on customs. He's a pimp with a golden pistol, and his 4 friends wear medium to heavy armor with close range weapons and patrol specific areas. Hill spawns on interchange. He's a heavily armored maniac with 60 round mags and a temper problem. On the bright side, he has no bodyguards. Lucar spawns on reserve. He wears lighter armor with very deadly weapons, but his 6 boys can have a wide assortment of weapons and armor and will swarm you once you engage them. They also spank Angrish and can use the mounted weaponry on that map. Controls. Tarkov has the basic WASD and mouse aim mechanics. Scroll wheel click will free look. Spacebar to jump, left shift to sprint. The scroll wheel will increase or decrease your movement speed. Your movement speed is displayed by the bottom bar on the bottom left of your screen. Caps lock will toggle minimum speed on and off. The higher your movement speed, the louder your character movement is. Movement volume is represented by the volume icon. Right-click to ADS and left-click to shoot. Pressing left alt while ADSing will hold your breath and steady your aim. You can only hold your breath for a short period. Sprinting, jumping, and ADSing will drain your stamina. ADSing while crouched will drain less stamina, and when you're prone, it drains none. Low stamina will also cause more weapon sway. Page up and page down will adjust the zeroing of your weapon. Press X to go prone. Repressing it will return you to your previous stance. Pressing C toggles your crouch stance. Current stance is shown via the stance bar on the very left. Holding C and scrolling will adjust your stance gradually. Press Q and E to lean left and right respectively. Press B to toggle your firing modes. Press R to reload your weapon. If you're reloading a magazine and you don't have room for your current mag in your tack rig or your pockets, it'll be discarded onto the ground. Double tapping R will quickly reload your weapon, but will toss your current magazine on the ground as well. If your weapon has an attachment, pressing T will toggle it on and off. Left Alt is a modifier key and will change most of the previous mentioned keys. Alt A and Alt D will gradually lean your character left or right. Alt Q and Alt E will cause your character to do a quick retractable sidestep. Alt W will make your character blind fire overhead. Alt S will make your character blind fire around a right corner. Alt T will check your mag's remaining ammo as well as the ammo type in it. Alt B will check your firing mode. This is helpful because toggling your firing mode makes noise. Checking your firing mode does not. Alt right click will toggle magnification and reticle style. Left control right click will switch between scopes if you have a canted sight. G will throw a grenade if you have one in your tack rig or pockets. Grenades in your pockets are prioritized first. Press F to interact with objects like doors, lootable boxes, bodies, and items. Pressing N will toggle your face mask and night vision. Double tap Y to open up the gestures and voice commands menu, and left click to select one to use. Escape will open up the menu. Tab will open up your inventory. Press R while moving an item to rotate it. Left control clicking will move an item into or out of your inventory. Left alt clicking an item will automatically equip it to your character if the correct gear slot is open. Hovering over an item in your pockets or chest rig and pressing 4 through 0 will quick bind that item to the key for fast use. Using hotkeys is the best method for quickly using medical items. Actually playing the game. To play the game, you run around the map. Audio is extremely useful in Tarkov, so listen and try not to be heard. Shoot at people and aim for the head. When you get shot, there's an indicator in the top left showing which of your body segments are damaged. If the indicator shows red, it means that part of your body is damaged. If a body segment shows up as black, it's completely blacked out. It will also show status effects if your character is bleeding or has a fracture. If you're in an engagement and your leg is fractured or blacked, you'll not be able to sprint. Taking painkillers preemptively can avoid you getting caught out in the open when fighting. After getting in a firefight, you have to be aware of your ammunition levels. Empty mags will have to be reloaded bullet by bullet. Once any armor you're wearing is heavily damaged, it's no longer doing you any favors. There are lots of lootable boxes around the map for you to check for items. After killing an enemy, their body will become lootable for you. If you die, you drop everything except your melee weapon and whatever is in your secure container. The end screen will show you who killed you as well as how much XP you've gained. It'll also show you all the enemy players that you've killed. For PMCs, it'll only show the player name and their level if you've looted their dog tags and extract with it. It'll also give you some extra combat stats, such as how much damage you dealt to a body, how many hits you made, how many shots you took, how many long shots you have, so on and so forth. It'll then show you the breakdown of your experience gain. Kills gives you the most experience, headshots give you an additional bonus, and you get additional modifiers for making it out alive. Complete tasks, get higher levels, and make this number go up. Until the next wipe, that is. I'll catch you guys next time.